Right, so today I have chosen Sagat to start painting. He's going to be the first character. Right behind me here you can see I've got my Nintendo Switch on the go, and also to this side then I've also got my collection kind of on display. So we've chosen Sagat mainly, as I've alluded to, it's going to be an easier task to paint. All we need to do is paint this guy's shorts and we should manage to get a Sagat in a different colour. The reason I've got this stuff behind me is what I'm going to do is with my Switch and we're going to play the newest version of Street Fighter, and we're going to look at some of the colours in Street Fighter 2 and how he looks. So here we are, we'll choose arcade and get started with Sagat to see what colours are available. Now, for growing up, I do remember there being a Sagat with a kind of, I know red was part of the shorts, but then red are in the main part, so I'm hoping they're different enough. There you go. Oh, those ones. So the red and the green. That's the one I remember growing up, having Sagat as like an away kit Sagat, if you like, with those reds. Those ones as well look familiar, so it could well be. I mean, it's been 20 odd years, so I do forget these things, but that one looks quite good as well. But yeah, there's a lime green, a couple of blues. I think it's that red one. That red one looks quite stark and looks quite different. Let's see what else is there. There's a purple, blue, grey. That yellow and black kind of looks nice as well. So, well, we're definitely going with the red. So let's play a couple of games with Sagat in those red shorts. I did quite like those yellow ones as well, actually. So here we go. Yeah, I'd actually need to find out, what version of Street Fighter has Sagat in these kind of red, or which button press from Super it was. But growing up, I did play a lot of Turbo, so I don't know. A lot of the ones that I kind of fancy are from Turbo. But then I looked at a lot of these characters in Turbo, and some of them weren't in the colours that I remembered. So on the model, it's going to be pretty much, there's easy access to the shorts. So basically I'll just be painting two different colours, the little stripe down and along, which is obviously a certain colour, green in this case for the red shorts, and then the blue changing into red. There's quite a heavy amount of wash on the shorts as well to make them look quite dirty. So we'll have to reapply that wash, otherwise it might look a little bit too plasticky. But that will be the one I choose, I think. I'll be painting them in a batch, so after looking at the colours a bit more, I think the third kit, if you like, the third choice, I'm going to have to call them kits, I think, a bit like football teams, second kit and third kit, will be the yellow and black. I like the way that looks, and it's very different to other things. I like that kind of, was there... Hold on, was this the Rocky colours? Is this what Rocky wore, or one of the people in the film Rocky? Is that what they wore? Yellow and black? And maybe that's why that one looks familiar. But I kind of like that yellow and black. And, it's my choice ultimately. So I think that's the one we're going to go for. I thought I'd jump down to here now for a second, just to kind of explain how I get started painting. I know this is the first video, probably won't do this again in some of the future ones, but I'm sat here on my desk. Now, all this light right now, the lights in the room are actually off. All this light that's coming in is actually through the window. It's daytime right now, and there's a good amount of natural light coming in. However, when you're painting, the light is probably the most important thing. For you to have. Basically, the last thing you want to do when you're painting is be painting in the dark. Honestly, it makes you stressed. It doesn't make a nice, comfortable. You need as much light as you can, really, shining on the thing that you're doing. So what I'll do, even though there's a lot of nice light now, this won't last. It'll be getting dark soon. So I'm going to kind of nuke this area in light. Probably a massive, huge table light just shining straight down on top of me. It might not even make it look good on camera, but it doesn't really matter, because it's got to be good for the painting. And I'm not a good painter, so I need all the help I can get, lighting and all. So, going to nuke this place for light. Then I'm going to grab my paints, set up maybe a handful of paints which are looking right. What are we painting? We are painting red, green, yellow, black. That's kind of all we need, and they're quite bold colour, so maybe we can be painting kind of like straight from the pot. You don't need to blend these colours or anything. So 4 really colours, then some water and some brushes. That's all I'm going to grab now to basically get started. Okay, so see you in a second. So this is my setup really. I've just got that big light. I mentioned how I was going to make sure that there's plenty of light here, so it's basically so well lit you won't believe, until I'm squinting. Just a pot of water, get your brushes out. I still use, for my sins, the Warhammer branded stuff, so Artificer brush there, so nice little tips on them. Yeah, keep them nice and perfectly trimmed. When a brush gets too old, change it, remember that. Little pots of paint there. I've got a far bigger collection behind me of random odds and sods, and I've already taken out some of the red paints that I had. Base corn red, I think this one is called Mephiston red, and then you've got the Evil Sun Scarlet, so 3 shades of red. Not sure which one we'll be using yet. And then obviously I'll keep that on the screen as well, just to follow. I think we're going to do, so it's that one, that red and green one, and then that yellow and black. To finish, those are my favourites of the Sagat colours. So yeah, that's basically my workstation. So there we are, everything's set up, ready to go really. Obviously there's one more thing I need, and that's the models. So they are behind me. This never seems to work on other people's YouTube videos. I can understand why. It does seem to be quite hard to keep that focus on. There we go, that's the Sagat model that we're going to be painting. And that one is going to remain blue and red. And then these two we're going to paint. So starting off is always a nerve-wracking thing. You know, you're never really sure if you're just going to ruin everything, and it just takes that bit of blind confidence really. You just got to jump in and get some paint on the model and just take it from there, you know. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to start with some red. Just like kind of colouring in when you're young, the difficult parts of doing this is just where, you know, the shorts meet the skin. Now you don't want to get any red on the skin because it looks like he's got a cut or something, but then you do want to get the underside of his shorts that are tucked in, which you can still occasionally see, and getting your brush in there to paint those little specks of blue, that a little glow of blue if you like, that still comes through, is always a challenge, you know. So on his foreleg, the one that sticks out, you can clearly see kind of up inside the shorts, and you kind of want to get that red brush in there, which I've kind of managed there. And then yeah, so looking all the way around, it's a okay layer of corn red. Now corn red is a base paint from Games Workshop, very good for covering things up, you know. If this was a layer paint, I think there would be a very strong hint of that blue coming through. And make sure you put enough on at this stage, because this is your base, you know. And I probably have still gone a little bit light in some places, and that's just a habit of trying to paint thinly as possible and not slabbering it on. Which is normally a good technique, but when you're trying to cover, because we haven't primed these with the paint underneath, I tend to have to be quite liberal in my application of the paint. You have to put plenty on. But hey, you can clearly see that is now Sagat wearing red shorts. Now, the trim. I know I can clearly see where it is. I'm going to clean my brush now and wait for this one to dry. I'm then going to shoot over and grab another Sagat, and I'm going to do this one in the yellow. So I'll let him dry there. See how dark that red goes when it dries. Paint the next one in yellow. Goes to show how different painting with two different colours on the exact same model, on the exact same procedure, really, of, what parts you're covering up, on how it looks. I mean, that red was covering the blue comfortably, and I could see if I wasn't putting enough on, I needed a bit more, not a problem. But with the yellow, I find myself going to the pot way more often and getting so much more paint to try and cover up that blue showing through. And again, anyone who's ever painted yellow Warhammer models knows this problem, because it is harder to paint with yellow. So all we've done now then is we have put on the red and the yellow. So there we go, we have got two Sagats with their main colour of their shorts painted yellow and red. Obviously the yellow looks quite good because you can still see the red thing, but red on red is never really going to work, is it? So that first one we did, red, is probably near enough dry. So I'm going to start doing the trim on the second one now and see how it goes. Now, just a note for you guys, I've not painted a model in maybe 2 to 3 months, and the last ones I did were Flamme Rouge, quite small, and they're a little cycling game, and as soon as you start painting again, you get that brush back in your hand, you start gaining confidence. I started off very gingerly adding the paint, and then by the time I was halfway through that yellow one, I was really throwing it on there, and I'm already getting pleased, and I'm happy with the results even now. And I know once I add that detail in the trim, it's going to look great. So didn't even take that long either. So genuinely excited by how this is going. So let's finish off the trim, and then you can actually have a look at the finished product. All right. I didn't actually realise I caught this on camera, but here's a little trick for you. These pots from Citadel Paints, they don't tend to stay open. And funnily enough, there's always, well, if you've got a girlfriend, there's always going to be those hair clips knocking around the house. And if you put a hair clip in the back, or any sort of piece of plastic or something I've used in the past, through the back there, it keeps the lid of the paint open so you can get to that little helpful little area. So yeah, there's a tip for you. There we go. That was the green finished on there. Again, you can see that trim now, and that is just two base colours. That is literally two different paints added onto the model, and it already looks good. To be honest, in many ways it looks good enough. That on the tabletop is great. Maybe a wash over it, and then it's as good as the ones that came out of the box. It really is. So onto this. So get rid of this red now and change that to a moody black. And we'll see, that should look pretty good. One thing that is very different about adding black is that you barely need any paint, and you can clearly see that your black is on there. You know, there's no show through, or barely any show through. It would have to be so thin a layer of paint to have much show through on black. It's kind of the opposite, like I was telling you about painting with the yellow earlier. With the black, it's always going to be there. It does mean I take a bit more time with black, because got to be careful. I don't want to get a smudge of this black on the yellow, because then it's a real pain. Then, you know, washing the brushes, changing back, trying to remove the black first, and then repainting that patch of yellow on. You know, it's just time consuming, and you want to do it straight away as well if I do a bit of a slip up. So I just trying to be very careful with my black. So there we are. That is the yellow one done with the black trim, and I kind of knew that was going to stand out because the black covers so well. So the black is over the red there. Barely had to put the paint on with the black because it covers up so nicely. So that is kind of just waiting to dry now. So yeah, that is the base colours. So I mean, you could paint these models to that level basically, and yeah, they're good enough for tabletop really. You know, it only gets fussy if you really want to get into those details, which, you know, I'm not the world's greatest painter, but I think I'm going to apply maybe a wash just to see how it looks with a wash, so I can just see where those crevices are naturally in the shorts, and then I will apply maybe the same colour but just slightly lighter, especially the red. I think the red needs to pop, but the yellow, I'm almost happy to leave that as it is. The yellow really stands out nicely. It looks great. So I'm quite happy with the yellow. The red though needs to be more red. That corn red I used from Warhammer is a little bit dark for my liking. So I think Mephiston red is the next red up, and I will apply Mephiston red after the wash just to get that red sharper. But that's where we are at the moment. Done the Sagat models, done all three, two obviously. The only thing I did actually do with that red one was I went over the raised parts of the model and basically put the Mephiston red over the highlighted parts. So I didn't actually use a wash on it. I felt like the corn red was kind of dark enough. So I just went over it with Mephiston red, which is one step above, and just did the folds and the creases and the shorts which kind of stand out. I'm currently happy with it. It could even go lighter again. There is a lighter red called Evil Sun Scarlet. I could use that as well just to highlight it even more. But it does look redder than it once was. The yellow, really proud of the yellow one. It is literally just the base coat, and somehow it still has those kind of shades coming through from underneath, and I'm really just happy with it. The yellow and the black looks great. So there we are. There's Sagat. There's the two alt colours. Really, I wouldn't do anything more to that now. I'm really happy with it. And that's good enough for what I want to achieve painting my Street Fighter games. Thank you very much for watching me paint the Sagat models. There are the finished models. They turned out quite well. And on the next video we will be choosing another fighter from the display there behind, and we'll be painting two different versions of that one. What will that character be? I don't know. I've not decided yet, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you can find some more videos on the channel, videos of me waiting for this game for over 3 years. Okay, good luck, and we'll see you next time.